President Trump set to address Congress at his State of the Union address tomorrow night.
The commander-in-chief is expected to tout his list of 365 wins for year one, including reducing illegal border crossings, historic economic growth, and reducing the trade deficit to the lowest level since 2009.
This all comes as Democrats reportedly planning multiple protests opposing the president's speech. Some are going to walk out, some are going to host their own little party, quote unquote. Joining us now is Republican strategist Cassie Smedley. Cassie, let's start with the speech itself. President Trump talks to the nation all the time, and we air it when he talks to the nation. But in the State of the Union, what should he do? What does he need to do to sell his agenda, to sell his accomplishments ahead of the midterms?
Yeah. Hey, good morning, guys. This is something the president does so well. State of the Unions have traditionally been a great night for President Trump and great press afterwards. Why? Because he uniquely, better than anyone I've seen in my lifetime for sure, pierces through that Hall of Congress, that Chamber of Congress, to the audience at home by bringing in storytelling, these real examples of how his policies, his work with Congress has impacted the American people for the better. And this year, expect him to give examples of people who have benefited from no tax on tips, or the working families tax cuts, or people who have seen the reduction in prescriptions be life-saving for them and their family, prescription costs, I should say. All of these things that he has done over the last year, lower gas prices, lower costs at the grocery store, that he's going to tout. And then he's also going to bring home those stories that really tug at your heartstrings. And this is what I'm looking for. And this is something that always bothers me. He brings in these really good stories like Laken Riley's family that really drive home how his policies are why we need him in office. And the Democrats will sit there, or as you just pointed out, they may not even show up. These issues that 90+% of Americans agree on, securing our border, and the Democrats will sit there or turn their back. Last night, we saw the video of him talking to the U.S. hockey team and inviting them to the State of the Union. If they show up, are the Democrats going to sit there and turn their back on them, or are they going to stand and applaud these great Olympians? That's what'll be so interesting to see.
Cassie, I love that you brought that up, because I was thinking about how the State of the Union address is so special because it talks about real American stories and puts faces to issues that we talk about every single day. And one fun one will be to see Team USA hockey there, because he did invite them and said, oh, we're going to play in there and we'll make sure that you're there. Really quickly, Abigail Spanberger has been announced as the person who will issue the official Democrat response. I mean, she won the Virginia gubernatorial election under the umbrella of being a moderate, since has done some things that would be considered not so moderate, like not allowing state police to work with ICE. So what do you think about her being the person to be selected, and what Democrats as a party are trying to say about the midterm elections and the presidential election with her at the helm delivering this response?
You know, I escaped Washington, D.C. just over a year ago, and we got about a year of living in a red state, the Commonwealth of Virginia, and then Abigail Spanberger was elected. And she was elected as a moderate. It's an interesting Democrat playbook, because they know their extreme left policies are not popular with voters. They can't run on those in more purple or red states, even, certainly. And so they ran Abigail Spanberger as this moderate. And then when she got into office, hours within being inaugurated, more than 50 proposals to increase taxes were introduced. And it's only gotten worse from there. And so actually, from a Republican standpoint, I'm glad they chose her, because it'll show a perfect comparison of what Democrats really want to do versus what President Trump and Republicans are doing.
Cassie Smedley, thank you. A big news day ahead of you. Fox and Friends picks it up from here.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.